Hey everybody. By the time we're at exercise 41 on page 54, chapter 10, things are starting to get a little bit tough. These are going to be hard. They're also going to be fun and instructive. I'll try to move through them quickly, but giving enough space always to make them make sense and better than just an answer key, because it's worth doing these things in real time and trying to put everything together rather than just looking at the final end result. Always honor old men, children. Nice short sentence to start off. What's always in Greek? That's tricky to remember. Just remember the alphabet, A-E-I, the vowels coming up. Then we have an acute accent on the iota, on this actual diphthong. So always honor. What was our verb for honor? What was therapelo? So let's not make the sentence yet. Let's just kind of put all the parts up there, the dictionary entries. And then what's old men? Well, that's going to be geron is the nominative. That's old man. Gerontology, geriatrics, these words come from geron. So always, this is to honor or I honor, this is the old man. And then children will, of course, be coming now from pais, but we'll need to put that in the right case and everything. And it's vocative, so we'll want to put that O little marker in there too. So always honor. So always is an adverb. These are great in language because they don't change. We can just leave that there. But honor, well, what sense, what mood are we in here? This is going to be the imperative. And then from children, we know that this is going to be the plural. That's nice because we'll remember in the indicative of these thematic verbs, the imperative looks just like the second person plural. So, it's hard to tell whether this is you are always honoring old men or children or whatever. Here we don't know, but it looks like this. So always honor, and then old men. Well, we can do a couple things here. Geron, if you know the dictionary entry, is gerontos. So we can see, this is a new ta stem. Let me make sure we got that stem going through the ta completely. So we get rid of the omicron sigma, that's our stem. Now we need to make this accusative plural. So what is that in the third declension? Well, that's that short alpha sigma ending. Because it's short, the accent can stay there where it wants in the antepenult. And then we might consider adding the definite article here. That would make it a class of people. Always honor the old man. And we're not talking necessarily about specific old men. We're talking about old men in general as a class. So always honor tous gerontas, O children. So this is good singular, although actually not really, you would lose the sigma. But we need to make this plural. It should be paides, vocative plural. Always honor the old men, children. Great. Next sentence. Greece, which is their fatherland, will be both strong and free. What's the word for Greece? Well, that's Hellas, that accent on the alpha, which, well, that's going to be our, just use a placeholder for now, our relative pronoun hos. Fatherland, you might remember, is patris, patridos, hey. And then will be, well, that's going to be any of those forms of to be we just learned in the future. Strong, well, what was strong? That was iskyros, iskyra, iskyron, accents on that initial iota. And free, well, what was free? That was eleutheros. Note that these are both ending in rho, the stem as it were, so they're going to have alpha and omicron, alpha endings in the feminine. Good. So let's erase those extra endings. We've got our vocab. Let's build the sentence. So Greece, when we're starting off the sentence with it, we might want to consider putting the feminine definite article before it. Hey, Hellas, Greece. Which. So what is this which referring back to? Which is which? It's referring back to Greece. So Greece is feminine singular, and it's nominative here. Now we need to make this feminine singular. And what's its role in the relative clause, which is their fatherland? Well, this seems like we're going to have a relative subject, relative verb, the is, and then their fatherland is going to be the relative predicate. So yes, we will need the nominative, so that's easy. Hey. Hey Hellas, which, hey, is, could make that, well, let's delay that. Let's make it their fatherland, which their fatherland is. So as we said, patris, how are we going to take care of their? We can't just use an article right now because we're not referring to anything. It's not clear who that's going to be. We're going to need a pronoun for their. And our pronoun that we have so far, that smooth breathing should be over the upsilon, is autos. But now we need to make it their. And we don't know what gender that needs to be, but fortunately for the genitive plural it doesn't matter. We're going to have auton. And then let's now put that form of the verb to be in there, esti. And that's enclitic, but because this final has a circumflex on the auton, we're done. We don't need to add anything. So Greece, which fatherland of them is, which is their fatherland, will be both strong and free. Let's start a new line. What's this will be? Well, we'll remember that it's esti is the third person singular future form of the verb to be, of Amy, and that's going to be what we need to go with hey Hellas. So that's going to be great. Esti will be, and then both strong and free. So we need a both and. Let's do the kind of easy way with kai here. So will be both strong, as we just said, iskyros, but this needs to agree with hey Hellas, which is feminine, clearly. So nominative still, alpha there, iskyra. Both iskyra and kai eleuthera. So in sum, Greece, we're adding that article because Greeks would like it. Greece, which the fatherland of them, we don't know who these them are, but we're marking it that there with the auton, is, will be, so we're going to have a nice enclitic esti here, nice future non-enclitic esti here, both strong and free. Excellent. Number 3, keep this moving. It will not be easy to teach the boys who are not willing to stay. Classic pedagogical problem. You need students in your class, unless, Socrates didn't have a way to record your videos and put it up on YouTube, so progress slow. So we know how to say it is not easy, but how do we say it will not be easy? Let's start with it is not, which is ou radion, nice neuter because we're just saying it. And then st is what we used to have, and that was enclitic, and we got an extra acute there. So it is not easy. But that's not what we need here. We need it will not be easy. And as we just saw on the above example, will not, or will in the third person, is esti. So not easy will it be. Note that here this is not enclitic, so we don't get an extra accent on radion. Ou radion esti, that's all it is. It will not be easy to teach. Well, what's that? Paidelwe. So in the infinitive, paidelwein, just like that. To teach the boys, so we'll definitely need the article there, telling us the gender of these paidas. And note that that's a short alpha sigma, so that can be a circumflex. So not easy will it be to teach the boys who are not willing to stay. Here's our relative clause in the English. We need to make that in the Greek. So we're going to have some form of the relative pronoun hos. And then not willing, so that we're going to do with ou plus Othello, and then to stay, that's meno. So this will need to be a complementary infinitive, to stay, so we can already kind of cheat and make that menane. Let's forget about the relative pronoun for a second. We'll get to it eventually. Who are not willing, so we want are not willing to stay. Well, what's the subject of Othello? It's ultimately the boys, and it will be the subject here. So we need to make this third person plural. Usi. No need for new movable because we are followed by a consonant, so ethelusi. And then what does u need? Well, it's followed by a smooth breathing on a vowel, so we have ook. So good. So right now we have it will not be easy to teach the boys, and then we have just a simple who but that's masculine singular right now. We need to make this masculine plural. What is that? Well, as we saw earlier, for most things in the plural, we just take off the ta, give it a rough breathing, and if there isn't an accent, add an accent, but there is an accent here, so we just have hus. So, radio nestai, it will not be easy to teach the boys. Hus, so masculine plural, going back to the paidos. Oh, not us, that was accusative. What do we need here? We need a subject. I got ahead of myself. So this needs to be a nominative because it's the subject of ethelusi. So we have our relative verb here, and we need our relative subject. So masculine plural, yes, but nominative. How do we do that? Just hoi. So it will not be easy to teach the boys who will not or are not willing to stay. Note that actually Greek, this means who are not willing to stay currently, at the moment that this is being said. Greeks, if they want to say who will not be willing to stay at the time of the teaching, they would use a future tense here. We don't know how to do the future of Othello yet. We'll get there. We were slaves, Athenians, but now we will be free, for we have worthy allies. Great sentence. Classic Peloponnesian War. We were slaves, but now we will be free. Look at this kind of opposition of slavery and freedom. This is kind of screaming out, not explicitly, but for a mende, where we have the men here that we were slaves, but now we're going to have a change of things. And then how did we do for? That was with gar, right? And then we can take care of the rest. We were slaves. So men is how we'll want to start this off, but I say that, and I don't really mean it, because what is men? Men is a post-positive conjunction, which means it's always second in the phrase. Post-positive. So that means we need a word before it. Well, it can't be we. It could be we were, but let's make it the noun. Douloi. Slaves. Slaves on the one hand, we were. Amen. Athenians. So we're going to need it. That's vocative clearly. So we get the vocative particle in there. Athenaioi. But now. So what's the word for now? Noon. But. That de. So now we've got the men and the de. Both post-positive. Both coming after kind of first word. This is the primary word in each phrase. First douloi, then noon. And you'll see this noonde frequently in Greek. That's how they want to do it. It was one way, but now, as things stand, it's different. So we were slaves, O Athenians, but now we will be free. Well, that's a little bit of a contradiction in terms if we're saying now, but let's forget about that. We will be. What's that going to be? It's going to be esometha. This nice middle form that we're going to learn a little bit more about. It's not enclitic, but it is recessive. So count back 3 because this is a short alpha. Esometha. So, but now we will be free. What was that? Eleutheros. And then we can assume a masculine plural here, not feminine. Otherwise, we would say Athenian ladies, something like that. So we were slaves, but now we will be free. This would be a good point for one of those raised dots, kind of semicolon, for we have worthy allies. So let's do the worthy allies first. So axios is the word for worthy, but now we need to make this agree with our word for ally, which is simakos. So axios, simakos in the nominative singular, but we need the accusative plural here. So that's going to be axious, sumakus. So both of these, the accents are persistent, but this is a long diphthong at the end, so these accents get moved to the anti-penult. They used to be on the alpha and the upsilon, but they have to move to now the iota and the alpha. Axius, simakus, and then I needed to remember that post-positive gar in there. So axius gar, let me rewrite that so it's a little cleaner. Axius gar, make that grave. Sumakos, but sumakus means accent goes there. For we have worthy allies. For worthy allies we have. So present tense of echo, echomen, first person plural. We were slaves, O Athenians, but now we will be free, for we have worthy allies. Well, that does it for now. 4 examples, but fairly intense, fairly difficult. This stuff shouldn't becoming easy. If it is, you should probably be moving ahead to a future video. Let's recap and see what is worth making note of. So always honor old men. Nice imperative, adverb. Gerontos was a little bit new. That's one of our new ta ending third declensions, but nothing too fancy there. Note that we might want to include this too, so I really think we should as a class. Greece, which is their fatherland, will be both strong and free. Hey, Hellas, we add this because you would do this with proper nouns in Greek. Which, so this is feminine singular, referring back to Hellas, and it's nominative because it is going to be the relative subject of this relative clause. So, which is the fatherland of them. Note this pronominal usage of autos will be third singular, both kai, strong and free. It will not be easy to teach the boys who are not willing to stay. So we just modify our old ou radion esti to ou radion estai, now no longer enclitic. Complementary infinitive to teach, direct object of that infinitive phrase. So we might say infinitive verb, and this is infinitive object. It's not easy to teach the children, the boys, male children, who are not willing to stay. Remember that it's masculine plural because that's what tous paidos is. It's nominative because that becomes the subject of the relative verb athelosi, part of this verbal phrase, willing to stay. And then finally, we were slaves, Athenians, but now we will be free, for we have worthy allies. So this was a great exercise in post-positive particles, men, de, gar. So douloi men, hey men, we were slaves, O Athenians. Nice vocative particle. Nominative looks like the vocative in the plural, easy, athenaioi. Remember that this diphthong is short, causing this to be a circumflex there. But now we will be free, eleutheroi. For worthy allies we have. Again, post-positives all throughout. Hope that was useful, and let's do some reading next time. I think it's the Thermopylae scene, which is one of the better stories and one of the better little translations we have in Shelmerdine. So look forward to seeing you then. Take care.